Ask anyone from Colorado what their favorite thing about the state is, and they'll probably say the beautiful mountain ranges. But there's one major problem with these mountains and the rocky terrain. They don't absorb water, just send it downstream. This is why a day like September 11th, 2013 was a day that started like your typical rainstorm, but quickly changed to something the National Weather Service called the 1,000-year precipitation event. Towns like Boulder were heavily impacted, but much less so because of their smart infrastructure, such as bike paths that double as water channels and breakaway bridges. Unfortunately, 16 miles north, the same did not hold true for Lyons, where some structures were built right next to raging rivers, and this disaster brought a year's worth of rain in just under a week's time. Lyons suffered $3 billion in damage, saw over 18,000 people evacuated, and nearly 17,000 homes damaged. Now, just like the rest of the world, they're facing a new disaster, only this one is invisible. It's certainly amazing to think how one 55-year-old individual from China is believed to have been the first person to have contracted COVID-19, a disease now affecting everyone on a global scale, from large cities to small towns. Lyons, being a town consisting of entirely locally owned businesses with a heavy reliance on tourism, is facing tough challenges since their economy doesn't work well when the state is on a stay-at-home order.
Why now? Look, we requested that Coloradans follow this step and we cut down workplace density. And while social isolation has increased and distancing has increased, it's not yet reached the number that we need to save lives and contain the spread of the virus, which is why we are resorting to this measure, this extreme measure at this time, to make sure that people know that they need to stay in their homes whenever possible.
To get an idea of how Lyons is overcoming these challenges, I spoke with Kathleen DeCoster, owner of the Western Stars Gallery and Studio.
In 2015, this opportunity for this space became available. So we kind of opened up after the flood because of the flood. That's the premise of it. We wanted to accelerate the recovery of the arts component of our community.
With a new disaster that is dividing communities, I wanted to hear how she felt Lyons was handling things.
It's both. It's the distancing and the coming together again. We've all drawn a lot of comparisons between what the community was like during the flood. Here, we're not evacuated, but we're isolated. But it's still the same community commitment that we seem to have in this town of 2000. Facebook is our billboard. Somebody needs a cup of sugar. You put it out there and they'll leave it on their porch for you. It's a very giving and open community. I think the flood helped us get ready for this. We knew we had grit. We knew we could do this. I think we grew from that experience.
Next, I asked her what keeps her positive amongst these trying times.
There's a lot of kindness and generosity, willingness to share, help however needed. We kind of watch out for one another. There was a store broken into last night, and it was on Facebook right away, and we're checking who had cameras in the town, and anybody see anything at a certain time of night. So there's a lot of watching out for one another here. It is a time to rally, to be creative, to think outside the box, to learn from this. Maybe we can adapt some of the modifications that we've had to make and make a more positive future. It seems like creativity is the kingpin of making it in this new terrain.